policies you make. And that's what our government's doing, is looking at a very narrow view. It's all about carbon dioxide emissions, and that's what's causing climate change. Used to be global warming. Now they can't say that anymore because how cold it was in Rockford, on Halloween last year. Got snow. Now it's called climate change. Guess what? Climate's always changing. Did you know that once upon a time we were covered by a glacier? Did you know that once upon a time Greenland was green? Well, how'd that happen? It was green. It was Greenland. We were covered by a glacier. What in the world happened between now and then to cause the glaciers to move way back to the northern part of Canada? Must have been global warming. Thank God for global warming. We can't build pipelines. We can't build power plants. We can't build drilling rigs. We can't build transmission lines. Everything is being overregulated and stopped on purpose. That's so we won't use as much energy. And that's hurting us as Americans. But yet we're going to pay more and more for the energy we've got. Now let's add on top of that this idea called cap and trade. How many have heard of cap and trade? Okay? You probably know what it is then. Well, as the marketing manager of Eastern Illini Electric Cooperative, I'm standing up here before you today, not representing Eastern Illini Electric Cooperative, but representing over 11,500 members whose bills are going to go up if cap and trade is being implemented by itself. Cap and trade is going to cause bills to dramatically increase. We are looking at somewhere between $20 to up to a possibility of $100 per kilowatt used. From $20 to $100 per kilowatt used. We have 1,000 kilowatts used. I should manually say it that way. We have a lot of members that use over 1,000 kilowatts a month. That's not unusual. In fact, that's average. Their bill is going to go up probably beginning at least $20. We think it's probably going to be closer to $30 just because of cap and trade. Because we're trying to stop the emission of carbon dioxide, which is a joke. We're out here contributing to carbon dioxide this afternoon. We're breathing. It's a natural part of life cycle. In fact, it is called the carbon life cycle. When I was back in junior high, I took physical science, which was one of my favorite subjects, and I learned about what the atmosphere was made up of. Do you remember what the atmosphere was made up of back there when you were going to school? What's the three major ingredients of the atmosphere? Nitrogen, oxygen, and when I was going, which is a lot, probably, it was other gases, right? Well, so of nitrogen, it was 78%. Of oxygen, back when I was going to school in middle school, it was 21%. And then there was this other gases. Well, I come to find out one of the other gases, 9/10 of that 1%, was argon. Okay? God placed argon in our atmosphere to keep us from burning up. For example, right now, if you go out and buy energy-efficient windows, okay, you're going to buy double pane, low E, gas-filled windows. It's argon-filled. Argon stops the radiant heat transfer coming into your house. Stops the carpeting from fading, the furniture from fading, the drapes from fading, and keeps your cooling bill lower. We have it in our sky, in the atmosphere. It is protecting us from burning up. Keeps that radiant heat from coming in. Well, now we found out that there's another 1.1% because they say there's only 20% oxygen. There's 9/10% is argon. 1.1% is greenhouse gases. Do you know what they call a greenhouse gas? Water vapor. Those clouds right up there are a greenhouse gas. 75% of the greenhouse gases is water vapor. Or clouds. Clouds do affect the radiation coming in on warming and cooling the earth. For example, right now it's pretty cloudy. It was supposed to be warmer today. It wouldn't be warmer if it wasn't so cloudy. It's radiant heat transfer. You don't have clouds, you have more radiant heat transfer. You have clouds, it's less radiant heat transfer. 75% of it is water vapor. What are we really looking at? What we're looking at is carbon dioxide is 0.0013 of 1% in the air. Now, let's put this in perspective. We're going to tax everybody based on something that is only 0.0013% of the total atmosphere. Now, we're not sure what's really causing it to increase. Could be natural causes. But you're going to get taxed on it. That's going to raise, you could double or triple your bills when it comes to energy. Okay? Can't be controlled, but here's the good news as far as their perspective is, you can't eliminate carbon dioxide. If you ever wanted a tax that would last forever, but you can't, we can tax cigarettes to death, and all of a sudden people can't afford to smoke. You can't afford not to have carbon dioxide. We wouldn't have any of these plants, this grass, any vegetation, we wouldn't be here without carbon dioxide. I got a question for you. I want you to think about this. How in the world did we get gas and oil and coal in the ground made of carbon? Where did it come from? Where'd it come from? Plants and animals. Made up of 75% carbon. You know how much carbon dioxide had to be in the earth for the oil to get formed? A whole lot more than there is today, and guess what? You and I weren't around here. In fact, the Industrial Revolution hadn't even been thought of in somebody's dreams yet. So how could it be? Now, let me put it in another perspective here as I wrap this up. Number one, if you compare the carbon dioxide, the carbon that's in the oceans, 75% of the earth is covered by carbon. Or I should say by oceans, excuse me. Okay? There is more carbon dioxide in the oceans that we create by 5,000 times more. There is 5,000 more carbon elements in the ocean than there is that we create as mankind. Secondly, on land, which is that other 1/4 of the land and of the earth, okay, there's 300 times more carbon dioxide created by animals and vegetation as they decay, decompose, give up carbon dioxide. We are so insignificant that to say that we're doing something. Now, let's remove the clouds. Let's reduce the magnetic shield. The Earth is slowing down very minutely, but that magnetic shield is a protection from the sun's radiation. The solar field, the protection around the atmosphere, as far as the magnetic field rotation, is slowing down. Lets more radiation in. Have you ever heard of sunspots? Sunspots, lack of activity of sunspots. Guess what happens? No clouds. When you don't have any clouds, more sun shines in. Now let's take 3/4 of the world and it's warming up. Doesn't have to warm up very much if it's got 5,000 more times of carbon that man is emitting to increase carbon dioxide. We're not looking at that. We're not talking about sunspots. We're not talking about the magnetic field weakening around the earth. How about this? Volcanic eruptions. One major volcanic eruption anywhere in the world. How about the one we just had experienced here in Iceland here a few months ago? That volcanic eruption put out more greenhouse gas than mankind does in 1 year. One volcanic eruption. There is a lot more going on than what mankind is doing, but we're passing laws based upon what man supposedly is doing when it may not be that at all. It may be better to adapt. I do know this, plants need carbon dioxide. In fact, we know that farmers know that if you inject, in laboratory studies, if you inject more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere for the plants, they actually produce a whole lot more, significantly more. Could it be that as the population increases on this earth, could it be that God is allowing more carbon dioxide so we have more plants and more food, nutrients for the population so we can feed? You know, we go back to when I was a younger kid and we talked about this planet cannot support 5 billion people. Well, guess where we're at today? 6.6 billion people. In fact, there were some told you it couldn't support 3 billion people. Well, we're double that today. We need carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the greenest thing there is because it creates plants that feed us. It's green. It's the greenest thing we can have, and it's free. Yet we're going to get taxed for it. Well, what do? Here's what you do. Number one, you get yourself educated. You understand what this is all about. By the way, we've talked about the consensus on the scientists. Well, there is a majority of scientists that believe that mankind is causing this climate change, global warming. Okay, 57% of them do, which means that 43% of them don't. But a lot of those scientists haven't got anything to do with climatology or geology. They're just scientists, and they're believing what they're being taught in school because there's this mantra going out here. There is this education that whatever the government says, a lot of universities believe it. You know why they believe it? They get money from the federal government. They better believe it. They better keep practicing preaching it, whatever, because if they want to keep getting their funding, that's what they're doing. Okay, what do? There's things we can do though. Number one, be educated. Number two, start becoming energy efficient. By becoming energy efficient, you can reduce your energy bills within the next year by 20 to 40%. And that's going to mean a lot in the future. Find out what you can do to make your home more energy efficient. Add more insulation. Compact fluorescent light bulbs aren't as bad as you think. By the way, that mercury's not really a big problem. If I took this ink pen out right here, and each light bulb, on the end of this ink pen point, that's how much mercury's in that bulb. Those 4-foot compact, or those fluorescent light bulbs we use, those tubes, got a whole lot more mercury in them than these compact fluorescent light bulbs, and guess what? Nobody ever said anything about that. There's things we can do, but we need to, first of all, let our legislators know that we will not allow this to happen. See, they're doing this out of fear. We're not afraid. I'm not afraid of global warming. In fact, I think global warming may be the best thing that happens for this population. And it's definitely going to be the best thing that happens to plants. Well, one more thing. I want you to think about this as I close. I was reading my Bible, and this is what caused me to go on this thought process, what I've shared with you today. Back in Genesis, in chapter 11, Genesis chapter 7, verses 11 through 19, God's made the covenant with Noah. Does anybody remember what that covenant is? Anybody want to share what that covenant is? Yeah, I know you're shaking your heads. Okay, I'll just say it out loud what you're thinking, okay? He made a covenant with Noah, and he promised Noah that no more, ever on this earth, would there ever be a flood to destroy mankind. Never. And what did he do to show his covenant? He put a rainbow in the sky, so that every time it rained, Noah wouldn't get worried that there'd be another worldwide flood. Now, when God says something, he's not a liar. He keeps his promises. Now, when I read my Bible and I look at the end of the age, what I see happening is not because of climate change. It's because people don't get along and they try to kill each other, and then Jesus comes back to save us from ourselves. That's what's going to happen. It's not global warming. So here's the question I got to ask you. Do you believe God, or do you believe somebody else? I know who I'm going to believe. Thank you.